so we left off with the Aryans are in India. They have created this caste system that doesn't allow for people to move up or down until after they die. Alright? And that's where you're going to get the development of reincarnation coming into play here. Okay? And again, this is the evolution of Hinduism. Alright? Now, so what happens is that we have the Law Book of Manu. Again, part of what's going to be part of the Hindu tradition, but it lays down that that you're supposed to treat women with respect and honor. However, at the same time, a woman is meant to serve her husband. Okay? There is remember how we said, like, in Mesopotamia, the law code, Hammurabi's law code was very patriarchal, and, it's kind of that example from Mesopotamia. The example of being very patriarchal is this sati. Alright? And sati is this practice that, in Egypt, they mummified their dead to prepare them for the afterlife, right? In India, in this society, what they do is they cremate the body. And what's going to be their mentality is that our souls are trapped in our bodies. And once you die, to release that soul, you cremate it. You cremate the body, the physical body. And then the soul is released. And with the idea of reincarnation, you can then be reborn into a different caste. Right? You can climb your way up, we'll get to it. But, so this idea of cremation comes in the patriarchal ways because a woman's value was found in her husband. And so what would happen is sometimes is that this was very, like, honorific and very, like, I don't know how to say it, but, like, you were a very loyal wife. If at your husband's funeral, and they put him on, the bed of logs and sticks and that, and they light it on fire, and while his body's burning, you run in and jump on it and burn with it.
You say it a long time.
So I'm your wife, and you are on this pile of logs and sticks, and you're dead. We're going to burn you, to cremate you, and all the rest, And while we start the fire, light you on fire, I'm your wife. I come in, no, let me go, and I burn with you.
Like, they would actually do that?
Yes.
Like you mean like every single wife?
Not every single wife, but there was a good number, and the practice was this sati, and this was like this idea that women found their value in their men, which is a very patriarchal thing, because if I died before you, and I was the wife, and I was on there burning, you don't see it, right? So it is. It's a very patriarchal kind of thing. Now, religion. We got to keep rolling here. Stay with me. So what happens is ritual sacrifices were more important than ethics. Obviously, things like sati. Right? So priests were specialized in ritual sacrifices. The idea of keeping God happy, okay, either through human or animal sacrifices was super important. Spirituality, all right, around 800. There was this movement of people kind of retreating, and you'll see, like, with a caste system, like, we can talk about it, we can say, yes, you're in this reincarnated, and if you've done your job, you get reincarnated in the next caste up, and eventually you'll get to the highest caste, and when you die, you'll then go into heaven and the moksha there, and that. But, while you are living in it, are you happy? No. And so there's a lot of like, kind of like backlash, like, oh, I'm untouchable, this stinks, I don't want to be untouchable. And so there'd be a lot of people that would be like, I'm just taking off.
Was it just based on family?
It was based on, where you were born. When you were born in your family's caste. Alright? Now, so the Dravidians are the native people to India, and then remember the Aryans came in. And so what happens is that they start to blend culture, despite the fact of trying to keep everybody as separate as possible with the caste system. Over the course of centuries, you start to see some things happen. Brahman becomes the universal soul. He is the highest God. And now you're starting to see Hinduism take form. Okay? Now you have a specific God, Brahman. Your job is to go through life and try being reincarnated up the ladder to one day when you are enlightened, your body's released and you go into what's called moksha, which is like their heaven. What's Islam's heaven? Paradise. Alright? So really this is moksha, paradise, heaven, they're all the same. Okay? What's karma? What comes around goes around, alright? And the idea of karma is super important, and it's tied to reincarnation in Hinduism, because if I'm living in this caste, I'm supposed to fulfill duties, do what I'm supposed to, live my life a certain way, and my soul learns what it's supposed to in that caste. I die, my soul has done what it's supposed to in that caste, I get reborn up. Now, if I am a jerk face all the way through that, and I'm mean and nasty, and I don't do what I'm supposed to do, and I resent the caste, then my karma's going to get me. And my karma's bad, I drop down. And that's why some Hindus believe, like my wife, she grew up, anybody in Shenandoah neighborhood or subdivision, anybody? Right. It's over there by like Homestead Lake and all that. But my wife grew up in there, and she lived next door to a Hindu family, and this girl, it was funny because Kelly had two younger brothers, and they would always go out, and they'd be playing or whatever, and see ants and all that kind of stuff. And they tried killing them and bugs, squishing them, boys and boys, kill. And she was always like, oh no, don't kill them.
The Hindu family or your what?
The Hindu family. And the reason why is that because those have souls. And you can even be as low as an insect or an animal and all that kind of stuff. And so, because you are learning perspectives all throughout. And so that's why it was very important to learn all that. You come in. Alright, now we move on to China.
What's up, baby?
So we go to China. And China's real quick here. For the most part, they are behind. Those guys, Dravidians and the Aryans are coming in. Harappan society is 3,000 years BCE. These guys are 1766, so they're behind. But they developed, in the same way. They developed the idea of social classes, centralized government, all the rest. So there's the Shang, and then there's the Zhao. And the Zhao dynasty comes up with this idea of the mandate of heaven. I don't know if they actually came up with it, but it culturally evolves. And for the most part, remember I was said the Yellow River on a scale, you know, of 1 to 4, which one was the worst, the Yellow River is the worst. The biggest thing about this is that some people would die. Floods would occur, people would die, and so the government that could take care of those people and protect them during floods, that was able to manage, you know, floodplains and irrigation and dams and that kind of stuff, would save people. And as a result, people would say that they must have the mandate of God up above and you have the right to lead us until you prove otherwise. And until the fact that, you know, when some rulers afterwards get greedy or whatever, and they start, you know, mistreating the common people and they start doing bad things, that's when the people say, we no longer like you, the mandate of heaven is revoked, and normally somebody would come in there and try to seize the power and would give them the right to lead. Now it's interesting because China, and you got to know this word, China is secular. What does secular mean? Close, but no. They are secular or non-religious. Okay? And besides the fact of being mandate of heaven, they really have no organized religion. They really have no polytheistic gods, not a whole lot of fertility, worshiping, all that kind of stuff. They are the outcasts religiously from all of these other societies. All of the other ones, all have ties to religion, not China. All right. However, economically, they're involved in trade. They sell goods and items. They've got currencies. They have specialization of labor, all of that kind of stuff. The only thing that they have closely related to religion is the veneration of ancestors. Who's seen Mulan? I mean, Disney teaches us so much. If you've seen Mulan in the beginning or whatever, how did she get the little dragon to come with?
Her ancestors.
Her ancestors, right? They all sit around and they talk and all that. The veneration of ancestors, those people, your family members that have died before you, are important to the Chinese. And the idea that they live on in the afterlife is important to what's going on to like their society and all that. So that is the big thing. All right. They have no real priest class. Everything is commoners and government officials, and that's it. All right. So that is China. We are good through the notes, and I'm